Tuvalcane shutters. Let's see here. We need to also come in here and turn on our little widget for VLC so you can see what's playing. For anybody that cares what's playing anyways. Anywho, doodles. Oh, we got audio stream current bitrate is lower than recommended bitrate. Well, that doesn't seem accurate. Especially since the audio's coming through the stream just fine. Well, just ignore that suggestion. You know what? It's probably just thinking that because when I start and there's no audio going, it doesn't detect audio. So it's like, oh, you got your audio coming through the stream. It's like, well, no, there isn't any audio coming through the stream, but that's because there is no audio in the stream at the moment. So, you know, chill, relax, sit down, enjoy yourself for a little while. Know what I mean? Ugh. I apologize in advance for the coughing. Well, we are back to it today. Oops, I just realized I forgot to launch the Ob Center so I can refocus the camera and zoom in and stuff. What I need to do is I need to get gloves on both hands that have like QR codes or something. That way it could just track me better. I don't even know if that's actually a thing with this camera, but it would be cool if it was. So we are back for another night of painting. Another night. Get it? Because it's an Imperial Knight. Haha! Night is in both the time of day and also Imperial Knight. It was really just like a giant robot knight anyway, so. We've gotten our coppers on. We've gotten our silvers on. We're in a pretty decent spot at the moment. We have our yellows done. It could use a little bit of touch up in some spots with the yellow, but I'm not super duper worried about it. So right now we're looking pretty sharp. Let's hit her with a nice zoom in, shall we? I hit the button that was on. It's already on. Zoom in, enhance. So we've got our silvers, we've got our coppers on there. We did some stuff with like the knee joint to add it. We did a little bit of copper down in this little ankle joint as well. It's a little bit hard to see because of the overwhelming power of the light above me, but you know. So we got a lot of stuff on there. We got our silvers up here and our golds and the silvers and the golds. We got to start on our blue is what we're going to start with today. And after the blue, we're going to go to actual gold and hit all of our like armor edgy parts. Which for the body isn't going to be a whole lot because the only armor plates that are really on the body already would be our groin plate here, our edges down on the toesies. And realistically speaking, that's kind of all of the gold spots. At least on there. I mean, I guess technically we got a little bit up here towards our back end here. So we'll get some of that in there too. Oh, goodness me, I apologize. But before we hit that, we got the blues. So we're going to do the blues and then we'll come in with our golds. My favorite brush is back to functional after letting it have a nice soak. So we're happy about that. Perfect balance of massive amounts of coverage, but also not being too shoddy. Goodness. Although a lot of this leg stuff we're going to want to use the finer brush for, because it's a lot of smaller spots and we don't want to try to get too much of the non-blue stuff blued up. So We'll just put that right there. First task of the night, did our end cap stay in? It did. The only problem I've really had with these paints so far, outside of Bastard Yellow, which is this entire situation, is sometimes the little funnel cap at the end comes off. It stays in the top, and it's like, oh no! But outside of that, these paints have been working wonderfully for me. With the whole, it's already thin because it's an airbrush paint. And I love the pearl color blue that we've been using. So we're happy times on a lot of this. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll start. Pop that little bubble there. Start on our toesy and go from there. Oh. You go ahead and get the big zoom that's actually showing my gut. That way you can see me painting, because God forbid when I'm painting, I'm always hunched way down here for it. Despite all of my best efforts, it happens every single time, so play into it, right? Play into it. Like, theoretically, I really could. And maybe I'll redesign it at some point, but I really could. If I got this camera over further, I could probably drop it down and just have this area instead of the entire thing. Then it wouldn't be as zoomed in at this point. But I mean, especially with me only streaming at 1080, it looks fine, I think. We might have to worry about that more after the kinetic fiber manages to go through my area, assuming they don't just do a box around my section of the road and leave me to suffer. Which seems like a silly idea, but in this day and age, anything's possible. Doop-a-doo. Every day we draw closer to the completion of all of our Imperial Knights. This is the last one that needs his paint job done. Technically, there is some damages on one of them, but I might end up just leaving it alone, just because it would be a heck of a spot to try to reprime and paint. And to avoid any accidentals, I'd have to pull a piece off, and the piece I would have to pull off is also the piece that scuffs it when it's getting pulled off, so... Might just leave that alone. Or I guess I could probably just hand brush some primer back on there now that I'm not really taking that piece off anymore. It'd probably be fine. But you never know. I mean, I guess you might know. Some people are more well versed in the mechanics of what happens when things happen than I am. So they could probably know. Even though technically, I guess, even if you knew, it would still kind of be a guess until it happened, right? Take a little bit of credit there. Or something. Using a smaller brush, I know it's going to end up taking much longer, but... if it helps in the long run with not making accidents happen, then we take that. So it's also not like I necessarily have a ton of obligations today. Although I do kind of have the itch to play some more Space Marine, but generally, if I do that, it's usually by myself solo, and at higher difficulties, that could be a little bit frustrating, at least at my skill level. Granted, if I do it at some of the semi-lower stuff, I can do just fine. As long as the AI manager doesn't decide to go end of the world mode on me and just hit me with absolutely everything that it possibly can. And it do that sometimes. It do that for show. Only problem with turning on streamer mode in Discord is then you can't hear the satisfactory blip that your automated stuff has posted properly. Which, realistically speaking, doesn't matter too much, because I think most people probably just have that channel muted anyways. And real talk, as I'm prone to doing, most of my friends are busy doing other stuff anyways. Playing games, working, socializing. Ugh, gross. Who socializes? That's terrifying. Being around people, having to judge if they like what you're doing or saying and all that. Oh, no. Oh, no. Going outdoors? Touching grass? Have I sold socializing yet? Yeah, some people love that stuff. I don't get it. Some people do love it, though. But how else are you going to find new things and new people, right? A challenging predicament for the person who's not really big into hanging out at bars. How do you meet people? You've got the choice of conventions. Conventions are always a great idea because most of the people going to said convention is probably going to be just as interested in the topic of said convention as you are. Like, you know, if you go to a comic convention, you would like to think there's going to be a lot of other comic nerds there. So you should theoretically be able to strike up a conversation with anybody because everybody's got the same interest. Same thing with game conventions and stuff like that. Of course, then you're talking travel expenses if it's far away, like hotels and flights and all that kind of stuff, and scheduling. And some people are terrified of doing such a thing on their own, which is, you know, a thing. I get it. As a socially anxious person, I totally get it. Sometimes it's the only way you're going to be able to go out and have some fun, though. Look at that blue. Such a nice blue. I love this blue. If I could just start putting that blue on everything, I might. I might just put that blue on everything, you know? You're walking around, suddenly my car is blue. Suddenly my fridge is blue. Suddenly the outside of my monitor is blue. I don't care. It's a nice blue. I like it. Now this piece here, I really probably could make this quicker on myself by using the bigger brush, but at this point, I've already got this one in my hand and I'm lazy, and I know some of the spots here do get a little bit thinner, so we'll just keep on with this one for now. Do our best to not accidentally... Yeah, there we go. We'll just do this. Downside of me moving it like that is you can see the spot that I didn't actually get the primer on because it was underneath the leg. Shouldn't be a major problem because after he goes on a stand, he should just stay there so you won't see it anyways. But, I mean, you know, whoopsie doodles. Nice thing about his leg being able to bend like that is I can put his foot down and use it as a point of sturdiness. Keep me from shaking it all over the place while I'm trying to paint this and not the little gold piston guys. Oop. Oh, glad this paint dries quick because I stuck my finger right in it. I have been finding that the little flag, I really should have just waited to glue that on until afterwards because I keep hitting it with my hand. I'm afraid I'm going to break it at some point. Not intentionally, of course, but... Much like life finds a way, accidents do happen. Even with all this light, sometimes I really have a hard time telling if I've got the paint on something or not. So, I mean, an easy solution would just be to say if the brush has touched it, then the paint's on it, but sometimes the paint runs out on the brush, you know? The ramblings of a madman. But we just be painting, you know, we be painting ourselves silly. That's my I'm silly sound. A little tee-hee. Not quite full Jackson, but you know. You know? You know. No, I don't know. Why don't you tell me more about it? Well, you see, there was this guy, and he was called the King of Pop, and he used to like grab his crotch and go tee-hee. They made pretty good dang music. Even me, a person who's not super huge into pop, knows that he makes some pretty dang good music. I can appreciate that he made some pretty dang good music. The man himself kind of went a little off the rails there by the end, but you know, respect music is still good. And I will give respect where respect is due. Talent is not a good person specific thing. Even bad people can be talented. And I feel like it's fine to respect the talent, even if it's not necessarily a good person. Doesn't mean you gotta support said person, but you know. Oh, look at that massive walk formation right there. He's charging, baby. Alright, little footsies are done. That little guy there is done. Just a little bit I can get on the inside right here if I'm careful. There we go. That gets that leg done. And we got this entire plate right here that we can do. Which we could also probably very easily knock out so much quicker if I used a bigger brush, but I do still have this brush in my hand. And there are some smaller fiddly bits in here, so... Let's give you just a little bit of a rinse. I really should be more careful doing that so I don't get water sprayed all over this acrylic paint. All right, now that we got the little guys done, let's get in there with this guy and we can get this. hit up much quicker. Because if it gets down into the cracks of the disc guy, it's not a big deal because we're going to paint that with our green. There we go. Set you back down. Before we go over to the other side, let's hit our center plate here. I'm going to have to do those little guys up there too. That's going to be fun. Oh, pardon. Well, it tasted like chicken bacon ranch. Most likely because I just got done eating a chicken bacon ranch wrap. Try to be careful here. I mean, we want plenty of coverage, but we also would prefer to not get it all over the armor plate barrier border piece, because that raised piece there is going to be gold. And if we get a whole bunch of the blue on there, it's not going to look quite as good with the gold. Because it throws off the little bit of pop that you get from it being black underneath. There we go, that looks pretty good. We'll just get a little bit more around that edge I was just talking about though. There we go. That bottom plate there will also be gold. Although I'm half tempted to just do that bottom plate in blue. Just make it like an armor plate that doesn't have the rest of it. Because it'll still have the gold highlight there. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So I'll make it stand out a little bit more than if it was just another piece of gold right there. And it'll give it a little bit of an excuse to look a little bit different than some of the other ones that I've got over there, since all of them have little tiny differences amongst each other. Okay. Now my question is, do I want to just hit that and then work our way down? Or do we want to start at the bottom there, then work our way up like we did on the other side? I feel like we'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Yeah. Work our way up from the bottom. Rising up. Back to the top. I sing with no rhyme or reason. It's just a shame that I can't really sing. Because I might as well be tone deaf. I mean, hey, just be glad it's not a song about me farting again. Just be glad. Don't be mad, get glad. It'll keep your garbage safe. What do you mean that's not how the jingle goes? I can't believe you've done this. Okay, so now we're working on this side. Just go ahead and just wiggle that guy that way. And then we'll just wiggle that guy that way. Trying to find somewhere to hold. God, I'm really glad that that stuff dries as quick as it does, because I just stuck my finger in it again. Brush has one little hair that's sticking out onto one side, and it's driving me crazy. Stop it! There, there's that part. Swing around again. Looking at the wrong foot. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. I really wish YouTube wasn't as stringent about playing actual music. I'm also really glad that Phat Phrog is so far holding up to its end of the bargain of being royalty free and all that stuff and not getting copyright struck all the time. Just gotta win the lotto, because then I could just make a deal with a couple of record companies. Be like, hey, let me stream your music, would you? Oh, dangerous. Dangerous. My arm is twitching. There we go. Yeah, definitely. If we win the lotto, we'd probably have all sorts of fun with shenanigans. Then I could just straight donate to the charities myself instead of raising money for them. Which I haven't exactly done the greatest job of in recent years, but it's not for a lack of trying. I mean, we made it through every single one of the Mass Effect games last year. Didn't have much of a viewership for those. Understandably so. The kind of long story heavy games, and if it's a lot of story, I feel bad talking over it, so then I don't talk that much. So then you're really just watching somebody play a game, and you know, nobody cares about just watching somebody play a game. You're there for personality. Cult of personality. Or if you're on Twitch, you're usually there because of the drops, but you know. We all do it. It's just a natural state of things. Maybe I should invest time in making myself a little CG model or something. Then people could throw pastrami at me. It seems like it would be more work than I want to invest. Although, I say that, but I might do that at some point anyways. Just because it would be interesting to learn that stuff. Not that I really have an interest in being a VTuber, I just like learning things. That's why for all these knights I'm building a little mausoleum houses to put them in, little tiny cathedrals. It's forcing me to learn some Blender. But the end result should be really cool. It started as just ragtag combining a bunch of free Thingiverse files together to make some of them for the little knights. But then for the bigger knights, I'm like, we gotta do some custom work, man. We gotta make it our own. I can't just keep pocketing other stuff. I mean, I could. But the bug was there. We had the feeling like, we kind of want to do this ourselves. We know it won't come out looking as sharp and snazzy as some of these professional modeler folks, because good lord, they can make some stuff and it looks good. But it's a first step into 3D modeling. It's still, since it's oh my goodness, where'd the word go? I know it. It's not archaeology, not anthropology, architecture. Architecture. Architecture? Architecture. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. For some reason, it just sounds like it's wrong coming out of my mouth. How else would you say architecture? Well, I guess you could say it like that instead of architecture. But I'm kind of already saying it as architecture. I don't know. You know what I mean, or you don't know what I mean at this point. I've said the word 7 different ways. But the little hut for these guys is mostly architecture based. Like architect stuff. Buildings and that kind of stuff. So it's all relatively simple shapes still, at least. It's not as complex as trying to get like the curves on a human body or face or anything like that. Or having to deal with how muscles work and that kind of nonsense. It's squares, it's cylinders, it's watching overhangs so that it'll print properly. That's somewhat my level of being able to grasp things. I'm not super great with grasping 3D geography and stuff, but that's the kind of basic-ish level of stuff that I can get my head around. It'll require some changes here and there as I go. When I realize, oh, this isn't going to work like that, I'm going to have to change this to be something else and things like that. I've already kind of had to do that once. Some decisions on like, oh, well, do I want it to be the same on the inside and outside wall, or do I want the outside wall to be more simple and the inside wall more complex? I mean, obviously we're building it for things in the 40K universe, so we got to have that gothic look. How gothic is too much? How far do I stray before it doesn't look gothic anymore? Is it too complex to print this right? Is it too simple to look right? questions I would like to pretend I imagine all these other people that are really good 3D artists and stuff ask themselves. But I also generally don't tend to find myself thinking about, I wonder what goes through people's heads when they're designing this stuff that much, because if I could imagine that kind of stuff, I could probably do it myself too. But they're just built different with their spatial 3D awareness and stuff that I seem to lack. But hey, at least I don't get motion sick. There's a little bit of a trade-off at least. I mean, not that anybody should really be peeking underneath your skirt anyways, guy, but let's go ahead and we'll just get those bits blued up too. Okay, so that's those. Now we got to get that little leg piece there. Let's just move that in a little bit to see you're less loosey-goosey, mister. Less loosey-goosey. Get that cleared down a little bit. I really find myself not liking that click that this song has. Like, the stick click on the rim and stuff, fine. That, though, I don't like. It almost sounds like somebody left a metronome on that they didn't mean to. There we go. That went on there nice and smooth. All right, brush check. We've got our little legs done. We got our joint here, here, and there. We got our little toesies done on all the sides. Just gonna swing it around and make sure, yep, all the sides. We got both of those sides. We got our wang doodle flap. We need to do the front of these guys in blue. We need to do the inners of those guys in blue. This entire shield needs to be blue. The thin bits of that need to be blue. We were going to do the body of that jet in blue. And then back here, that little disc needs to be blue. As well as those two things. So I think we can get away with using our big brush for a lot of this. Like in there, we should be able to get away with it. I don't want to go too nuts with it. Up here, definitely we can get away with it. Although the backside, we're going to need to be careful. Those guys, we could do it. Might be a better idea to not do that, but let's just roll it. Let's just roll it. We'll do it live. All right, touching up that part up there. I definitely think we want to come back in with a little brush to do that. Let's get our little shield guy. I forget what the technical name, a corset or something like that, I think. Or a caution shield or something like that. God, if I had a memory, I swear I would be dangerous. I know a name for it, I just can't think of it. Oop. That's going to require a small one for sure. Gonna give the front another sweep of the blue because some of it looks kind of streaky. Alright, those guys both have blue on them. Yeah. Oh, there's another little one right back there, too. He's going to be rough. The concentration's starting. I'm getting real quiet. Concentrating so hard. Let's switch over to our smaller brush again. Oh, crickle crackle. There goes my backle. Okay. We gotta carefully get this guy here. All right. I got a bunch down there. Yeah. Flippy flappy. Don't get slappy. Now we gotta get this guy up there. All right, that's blue. We got this guy in the back that needs to be blue. We just keep on going around that edge. Now we gotta get the top part. We gotta be careful doing the top part though, because we don't want to accidentally get over the copper part. So we're going for one of those kind of optical illusions if we'll get close enough. And then you won't notice the fact that there's little black spaces in between the cog. Because your eye will be like, oh, well, there's gold there and there's blue there, so that must also be blue or gold. There. Oh. Gotta get a little bit up there. There we go. About. While we're at it, let's get a little bit more blue over on this guy because it looks a little unblue right there. Okay, so that leaves just the top guy, right? Oh, I mean, I guess there's technically the inside side of that shield holder guy we need to do still. Looks like we did a good job of missing this piece with our prime and spray as well. Does not surprise us too much, but sad that I missed so many spots. Okay, spin you back around to where you belong. And then we'll try to get the blue around his little gold skull there. There we go. It's either blued up around it or at least gives the perception that it's blued up around it. So, success. Move our feeties so that he's leaning right. It's that. I mean, we could try to get into the backside of those, but those don't really turn from where they are, so you're not going to see it anyway. So I guess we can move on to our top plate here. I was going to go ahead and just switch straight to the big guy, but this back piece here we're going to want to get with our little guy. Precarious. Gonna need a layer a little bit thick back there to really make it stand out as blue because it's such a small spot. Okay, the rest of the top piece we should be able to do with a big brush. Oh, our favorite part, seeing that blue go on. Good. One gray spot right there is probably going to stick out still, but don't really need to worry about that front piece because that front piece is going to be covered by the top plate. But we'll do what we can here to make sure it's nice and uniform regardless. Looks like we've done and bottomed out our blue too. We're going to have to reload that. All right, blue. We need more of you. There we are. You be the blue. Gotta get a clue. A slight shade, the perfect hue. If you don't like it, just let it stew. As Mem would say, we get it, Ken. You have no respect for rappers. Just a little bit more of a wet streak down here. I'll brush up over here just a little bit with some more. All right, that's our big blue armor plating right there. Now we get to switch back to our little brush because we've got to do the legs and stuff of the pilot in there. Yeah, we're looking forward to that, aren't we? We also got to get the edges over there too. Okay. Let's not go too nuts on that top. We'll just make that worse if we do. Oop, oop, that was a big dunk. Didn't mean to do that. Well, if it was going to happen down there, it's definitely the spot for it to happen. Plenty enough open spot to put stuff there, so. Get that in there. Part of me is kind of tempted to try to get all the little dots there to have the blue in it, but the rest of me is also like, dude, that's a pretty fine spot. Are you sure you're going to be able to do that? Maybe if we just hit the bigger ones, we can do it. Again, if enough of the bigger ones are done, then your eye might just deceive you for all the little ones. But then you'll think I've done more than I have. Really worried about up here though, because I don't want to get the little banner. But I also don't want to. There. I'll come back over to this side and we'll do a couple of blue dabs here in the stickers. There we go. That's it, I think. Oh, we got to get the inside. We got to get his little leg plates and stuff. There we go. So leg plates are blue. If I really wanted to, I could try to get in there for his little shoulders, little armrest plates and paint those brown like I did in the one big one. But it is such a small detail that you don't see, especially after you put the top plate on, because it narrows the hole to see in there by even further. So I don't think I will do that part. But that, I believe, is everything. Let's do a quick little loop around and double check just to make sure we didn't miss any blues, because I'd rather not have to come back and do some re-blues after the fact, right? Foot. Toesies are done. That side. Toesies. All done. Check. We've got our little back here. That's blued up. And on that side, it's blued up. That guy's blue. That guy's blue. That guy's blue. That guy's blue. We have both of those two things there blue. Both of those little headlight things. That and that are both blue. On the back side, that and that are blue. We also have this guy blue. And our pipes up there. And the little hidden guy there. And the little hidden guy in there. And we've got our top blue. So he's all blued up. Yeah, you can focus anytime you want, camera. So blue on the main body is complete. I think what we are gonna do next is we're gonna move on to the plate that we haven't done really anything with yet for the shoulders and the chins and the upper thigh area. Because we can do some blue on these now. Yeah, you can definitely see where I had to rub some of that primer back on. Oh, well. I guess let's... I like the big one because it gets in there better. But it is smaller area over there, so I'm wondering if I should use the little one. Let's start with the big guy, and if it gets to be too much, we can always swap over. Of course, we can also just use this to get the big chunk of it up here, and then use the little one to come back in to kind of finish her off on the bottom. Because we're definitely going to want the little guy for the little inner circle gaps anyways. Like right there and right over there. we'll get a little bit more and just kind of clean up this side over here with it. Do our best to not cross over that yellow. There we go. And we'll have to do a little bit of yellow touch-ups on this side at some point. We'll have to grab the yellow and just kind of dab it in there to try to clean that up a little bit. Because unfortunately with my taping job, I couldn't really block that off as accurately as I really wanted to. But I was also just happy that the tape actually worked the way I wanted it to as well. So, I mean, you take what you can get. You do, you do. Sometimes data is better. Little pet cemetery for everybody. Or the Pet Cemetery theme song from Ice 9 Kills. God, this one's in a similar situation. It's got a bunch of touch-up that needs to happen right there. Okay, get a little bit more in here. Those little Heidi circles. There we go. So shiny, so nice. Very nice. Complements the yellow very nicely. Then we'll get our gold trim on there after we do a little yellow touch-ups, and it should be wonderful. Dang it. Keep whacking my hand on this brush when I'm trying to get over here, and there we go. Alright, let's see. We got you to do. And we got you two to do. probably really use the mid-ground brush here. Well, having said that, how is our other guy that we've had in there doing? He's been sitting in the old cleaner concoction for a while now. It's more along the lines of that one, so I'll just throw him in one of those spots. Okay. Back to the little guy. All right, there's some good blue for you. This guy's turn. Oh, excuse me. Neil purple. All right. All right, all right, all right, all right. Or if you're a flip hander, all left, all left, all left, all left. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is it all right because a right-handed person came up with it? Probably not. Probably not, but you never really know because you wasn't there. And that's real fair. Oh, well, what you gonna ever do? Just think about it. Just think about it. Maybe it was, maybe it weren't. Anybody know? Couldn't burn. Alright, back to the little guy. Precision brush time. Precision. I like my precision brush like I like my snipers. Super accurate and in somebody else's hands. That's a joke because I'm not very good at aiming in video games. I'm not very good at it at all. I try to stay away from things that require precision like snipers because I'm not good at aiming in video games. I do my best. What more can you do in a video game? But, yes, you could be a filthy cheater, but nobody likes that. Even cheaters don't like other cheaters. Okay, top plate is definitely going to be the big one. The big one. Now let's do it. Although maybe I should start with my door. Okay, then we can just kind of let this rest for a moment before I close it back up. That way all the paint dries up in there. Because I put a little metal hinge inside of there, and I covered up a little bit of two-part epoxy, and that way I can open up the door if I feel like it, so you can see the pilot. Although it's going to be hard to see the pilot because it sits like that, so it would face forward. So this little window really narrows in what you can see, but that way if I want to, I can. Technically the door was supposed to open in a split, but I glued it together because there's no way to hinge this front one without rounding all of these edges in the front, and it wouldn't in my opinion, look right. Otherwise, since it's flat there, it can't pivot like it does in the back. And even the back, it's at such a nice little slight curve, nice little like C in there, where this side is lower than the middle, which is the same, you know, the two ends are the same, that's that, and you can't, if I went through straight, it wouldn't pivot right, so I did some work, and it's kind of a loose door, but it'll do the trick. And that way I can still close it over, so he can run around for combat purposes, but then if I want to display him somewhere, I can just pop him out and be like, look, there he is. I'm going to just take that right off of there. So you got a spot of gold trim all the way around you. So we're actually going to be brushing insides here. Trying to kind of keep the brushing going in the same direction. And that way the kind of brushed steel streak look kind of stays with it the entire way. I guess that part probably should also be gold. But it's already got so much gold on there. I think we're going to leave that as is. And we're going to paint the door piece blue still. I'll see the part underneath that hinge not blue. Oh, goodness pardon. I got the burpees. Thankfully not the exercise. I'd probably die from that. We heard you like to suffer while getting fit, so we made something even more sufferable. Can I not? Do I look like the kind of person that would do a burpee and survive? I mean, let's be realistic here. I'm barely a push-up body these days. I used to be able to do so many of those. You wouldn't believe it looking at me now, I'm sure, but... I used to be my daily, I'm living in a camper and I need to do some exercise. I guess it's going to be push-ups. I'll bang out like 100 of those things. And I was like, if I'm doing this many of these things, I must either not be doing it right or not getting much out of it. And then I just stopped doing it as I always do with exercise. And I know I do it all the time with exercise, because I do it all the time with exercise. I'll do it hard for a while my motivation and stuff holds, and then eventually I just get sick of it because I don't really like exercising in the first place. Every time I decide to start doing exercise again, it's because I need to do exercise, and I know I need to do exercise because it's good for you, not because I actually want to do exercise. Gamifying it helps a little bit, because then, you know, at least for a while you're distracted with the game side of it, where it's, oh yeah, this part's fun. Adding music definitely helps me because I like listening to music. Such as old Phat Phrog here that we've been listening to. Okay. That's all the blue on you. I put you back over here where you'll patiently await your next color paint option turn. Now we can start on our main rack of stuff, of which we have a ton of things to paint. Ton. Some of it actually is not going to get painted, though, on the main rack here. But definitely a good deal of it's getting painted. Actually, you know what? We might want to drip a little bit more. A little more blue in there because it's getting low again. 2 drips at a time is all I need. Spread it out. I thought to myself the other day, self, how are you ever gonna get decent looking letters on the super tiny little spot right there on the chest? On the scroll piece, where it's gonna look good and still be like readable letters and stuff that would spell out a name like Vendred. Or Delonius. And in the process of asking myself that, I thought to myself, self, if we're already thinking about getting some stuff to be able to make our own water slides, why don't we just use some of that? To which, of course, the logical answer is, my brain went, you're going to manage to perfectly get that little angled shape? You're going to be able to figure that out and print that off and stick that on there? There's no way you're going to do that. You're not going to measure all that and do all that math and stuff. It's true, I won't. And I thought, what if I did individual letters? Because then I could just cut each letter out by itself, one at a time, put them on. Self, I said to myself, that's actually not a horrible idea. Perhaps slightly a little labor intensive, but a great way around having to do the curve math and stuff like that. All right, and then those parts will be gold. Come over here and get his face. May have just gotten a little bit of blue where I didn't mean to there, but oh well. We don't deal with perfection. We just let our happy little accidents happen and move on with life. Our little knights just want to be nice and colorful and full of liveries before they get put on the battlefield. It's very important for them. It's important for me. They may not be able to win a match because they're controlled by me, but they'll at least look spectacular. A true strike forced attachment to weaken the knees of its opposition. At least until the rolling of dice starts, in which case then my weakness is shown and the fear of what's coming slowly vanishes for the other team and just totally focuses on me instead. Give that piece a little another coat there. There we go. Here's your hat. All right, for our gun, little pinto gun. Our shield is blue. Like most of the armor bits are. Okay, buddy, you need to stop wiggling around on me here. Trying not to paint stuff I don't mean to paint, and you're wiggle wobbling all over the place and making it quite difficult for me. Yeah. Oops. Like I said, we don't deal with perfection. I do believe on at least one of my big guys. Maybe it's all of my little guys, but I believe I have the ammo box. For whatever reason, I decided to paint them blue. Probably to make it stand out a little bit from all the rest of the stuff. There we go. Gun is painted. I will end up putting a little dab of green on there to like get the little sensor look on it, but arm pieces don't need any blue. You've got plenty of spots that are gonna need blue, little pilot. Just gotta remember to kind of take it easy with him, because we're not gonna see the color as well a lot of time because of all the silver that's on him. Unless we do it super thick like we just did on that shoulder. There we go. He's got his little blue there. Now we just gotta come back in with the gold at some point. Can't tell if that was the lights that just dimmed or if my eyes just went in power saving mode. Did you just ask if your eyes went in power saving mode? Yep, I sure did. There we go, little fella. This one we can just hit with the bigger guy because this one's just all blue. what we're going to do is we're going to start with the inner piece of it first. Because that's going to be way easier to just kind of paint up when I'm holding onto the outsides of it. There we go. The head hood is painted. Time for the little neck cap button. Neither of those need any blue. Those are all internal button pusher, beeper, bloopers, and stuff like that, so that's all fine in the silver. Helmets, though. How do we want to do this? Maybe we'll do this one blue. We could do that one with the gold faceplate. And then we could do that one with the split with the blue. We're going to want a smaller brush for this. Nice, relaxing, lo-fi beats brought to you by Phat Phrog. Courtesy of that one Humble bundle that I bought. Hamba. Yeah, buddy, we working away. There. The blue helmet. And we just gotta try to get the blue helmet back in here without knocking everything else over and into stuff. There we go. And then this guy, this entire front plate we'll do in gold. And then we'll do the top in blue. If I'm being honest, I have half of mine to do this one with a silver plate with the gold trim. And I would have like 3 different varieties. Maybe I'll do that. I'd hate to have to come back to the silver again, but that could make for a really cool look. And then it would make that gold around the outsides pop even more. Yeah, I think I might do that. So we'll have one that's all blue, one that's all gold, and then one that has like all 3 tones into it. That'd be really nice, I think. It's an idea, and I like it, therefore I'm gonna do it. Oh, we are getting there for the blues. We're almost through the blues. Ugh, I gotta wiggle my legs a little bit. Ugh. Comfort comes with a price sometimes. Let's put you up over there where you're on my way for now. This guy here's gonna be blue. Let's just take him right off of there for now. There's our little front guy. Now we got this back collar here where everything starts getting tricky because there's so much stuff to try not to paint. I have gotten so weirdly deep in thought while painting this spear that I totally forgot that I was even streaming. Just over here, internal monologuing my little brain out. Huh. That must be that Zen state people talk about. That can't be true, because if it was really a Zen state, I wouldn't be super crazy deep in thought. I would just be all flowing. Oh, I almost just painted a spot. I didn't mean to right there. Just rocking and rolling now, though. Just lathering this blue on here. No thoughtful, does it have to be blue here? Does it have to be a different color here? Just straight paint, man. Okay, and then we need to get a little bit of a stretch in, I think, because my neck is starting to lock on me. Ooh. Oh, turn that way. Turn that way. Tuck it down. Lean it back. Push back. Oh. Oh, break your clavicle. Good to go. And we do our darndest to not paint the blue over the copper. All right, there we go. That is our spear arm. That's looking good. We'll finish her up with a little bit of green in our back vent spots there. And then our little dials over there. Oh, I gotta get right there. Green, blue still. Almost forgot about him, but we didn't. Part of why I was pointing everything out. lot easier to see potential whoopsie daisies when you're like, there, oh, wait a minute, that's not colored in. There, so then we got the greens in there, the greens in there, the little greens there. And this bad boy is done. Oh, and then the yellow. The gold that we'll do on the highlight armor parts, like the up there and the right there. That's looking good. Okay, chainsaw. We're doing that part, our circle guys. And I think we'll do our hood as well. Okay. That right there. I come over here. There's that part. Also probably could have done our little side cover in not blue, but I feel like I just want it to be blue because I like the blue and I want to use more of the blue. So we're going to just do it blue. Can't be much more of a fair thought than that. If I can, it's all torn up right there. here's a little bit, but what you gonna do? And dab right there. Do a little better dab. Okay, we gotta get these guys. Get in here. Okay, that could have been a little bit better. That's all right. We're coming through with the gold afterwards to get all the little bits anyways. That'll help clean it up. All right, that part, yep. Now everything we wanted blue was blue. Put you back in there. 2 more parts left to blue, and then we're done with the blue. Oh. Oh. just decompress my spine a little bit. I've fallen down in my chair some again, which I try to keep myself from doing, but nevertheless, pretty much always will end up doing, slide into my chair. Even with the big old tilt that I've got on this bad boy to keep myself from doing it. Let's try to get ourselves straightened up a little bit. Not knock anything over. Ugh. Oh. Oh, that's so much better. So much better. Body, why don't you just stay like that, yo? I better not try to badmouth my body. It'll get the last laugh every time. Alright, back to our bigger brush this time around, because we got a bunch of bigger spots to do blue now. I've got to get these 2 big guns, and then we're blued. We're blued. And that leaves just the gold and the green, which is pretty much all highlight work at that point. And then it should be good for, oh, and a little bit of extra silver. I might actually do a silver before I'm done, because I just got to touch up that one guy there. And then it'll be done. And it'll be ready for prime time, aka hitting it with a primer. Okay, so this entire shield plate back here is going to be blue. But this little plate right there in front of it is going to be gold. Because that's just kind of how the breakup color works right there. I feel like we're already needing a little bit of a refill here. Let's just do a 1 drip. So don't want to waste a bunch of it, but we only have this one thing left to do. It definitely feels like I burned through that last batch of blue faster than I did usually. we go. That'll bring right there will be the bright gold. That down there should have been copper, and it looks like I just missed it. Okay, well that's something I'm gonna definitely forget about if I don't do it now. There. Doesn't look like much, but that should do it right there. We don't need a ton. It's just that little bottom piece there. Probably won't even get noticed anyways. But saying that, it is also in the forward-facing position, so it's got the best chance of not getting noticed if it's not somewhere that you're staring right at. There. That's been fixed. Well, you know what else I could do? I could do it on the... Well, I've got that there. We can use it on our ammo inside this drum. And it helps break up the massive amount of flat gray right there. Also giving that nice ammo look. Even if we're using a little bit more of a copper than a brass. Yeah, that looks good like that. Oh, but also looks like we might have a little bit of primer chipped off right in that corner there. Wonder if you whacked something or how that came off. I'll stash you up there for a minute because we can get some of this with the big guy. Help speed things along some. Doo-ba-doo-boo-boo. Bird sounds. Ultimate relaxation sounds. 302. I like to think in the like far off future, some AI trying to make somebody like calm down so they don't explode, and it's just like stock bird sound, go. And the dude's just like, this isn't helping at all. I hate birds. You seem rather agitated. Would you like some more? Oh, my guts are grumbling. Just wacky because they've been fed multiple times today, so they shouldn't be hungry, but here we are. Complaints just streaming out of my stomach. Like I'm some kind of an unattentive parent not feeding it. You've already had all your meals today, but what about extra meals and bonus meals and secret meals and snack meal? Listen, you little hobbit, relax. You don't need that much food. Ah, precious, we need that. Yeah, well, your need's gonna make you 7,000 pounds, so relax. There we go. There, that should be good for this arm. That leaves us with the final arm gun. It's got lots of explosives. Ugh. And we will be more than happy to stretch after this, which is a rare occurrence for me, being happy to move. But oof. Oof. Shaquille O'Neal. Ooh. Oh, it's got some very video gamey blips and bleeps. Yeah, I think we're going to be getting done at just about the right time for this brush. It is starting to get real mad about getting paint on it. I'm still keeping it. It's still taking it off of the thing and putting it on there, but it is definitely not feeling like it's doing quite as nice a job as it was at the start. It's just fair. We've been doing a lot. Yeah, I think we will do that bottom part in blue too. Feels weird to leave that entire thing in black. Okay. Oh, I need to get right there too. Almost. That's it for the big brush though. We need to switch back to our smaller brush. There we go. Beautiful. It's all of our blue. That way, set that there. Come back here. We're going to grab this guy because we were going to put a little bit of silver on him. So we're going to just do a little tiny squirt like we did with that copper touch-up that we did. That way we're not wasting a ton of it. Definitely accidentally painted outside lines up on the top there. The gold will hopefully deal with that when we come down with the gold. There we go. That's that little silver touch-up we wanted to do. I believe, if I remember correctly, there was a little bit of a silver touch-up. Yeah, right here. Right in there. There's a big missing spot of silver. Just do that little bit of touch up there. Remember seeing that the other day where I was like, oh no, I missed this big old chunk of silver right here. Problem solved. All right. I think that's enough painting for me tonight. Because I am getting all sorts of stiffened up from sitting here and looking down like this. But we got a bunch done. A whole lot done. Let's see, what was it? Preset 3, I think, is the zoom, right? Preset 2? 2. Yeah, look how nice that blue looks over there with that light bouncing off of it now. Ah, oh, so good. But that'll be it for now. Next time, that gross feeling when you had your hand in a latex glove the entire time. Next time I hit him, might be another stream, or I might just go ahead and do it to get it done. But I've got the gold that we're going to ring all of the armor pieces. Pretty much everything that's still black is going to end up getting some of this gold, really. And then the green is going to be for any of like the spots that I feel like there should be light coming out of one way or the other. And then after those two, he will be completely painted and ready for the prime time to get a top coat. And then after the top coat's done, I can assemble him and he's done and I have all my army done. Then I just got to build their little chicken coops so that they can successfully exist in those when I'm not using them and not lose all their stuff. So good times. If you showed up to watch, thanks for watching. If you hung out at all, I mean, chat not super lively today, but that's usually the norm for me. So if you did happen to come on this video one way or the other, thanks for watching. You all have a wonderful weekend, and I'm going to see if my little serval skull is listening to me. To Volcane, send him home. He's not listening to me. To Volcane, send him home. Still not? This happens sometimes. Normally he listens to me really nice, but then at the end of the stream, there's always this fight where he's like, no, I don't want him to leave. There's nobody here, Tuvi. Just let him go. To Volcane, send him home. Still no. To Volcane, send him home. Oh, he's being a stingy little... He gets so goofy like that, man. Good lord. Let's make sure we're saying everything right. Yep. To Volcane, send them home.